Okay, I agree with you that Jesus is our rest. But let me challenge you a little bit here. Holy means set apart. Keep the Sabbath day holy, set apart. That's the commandment, right? That's one of the 10 commandments. Keep the Sabbath day holy, set apart. Set apart means different from other days. So if you are ever cleaning your bathroom, cleaning your house, digging out the crud from underneath your fridge and doing that, going to your job, all of that stuff, that's work. So you're working, okay? You're working. So you're not setting that day apart and keeping it holy. It's a day. We're not in the millennial reign yet, I don't think. And I looked outside and heaven and earth are still here. And so Yeshua said, not one jot or tittle would pass from the law until all is fulfilled. So I'm in this situation, and I'm sure you are too, where I have to go to my job and I have to work, right? So I'm not keeping all those days holy. I still have to clean my bathroom, or cause somebody else to clean my bathroom, pay somebody else, cause somebody else to work. That's also a Sabbath command. You don't cause other people to work on the Sabbath. So I don't want to call you a liar, but you're not keeping every day holy. You're not keeping every day set apart to Yehovah. Now, the Sabbath day is a picture of the millennial reign. We're not quite in the millennial reign yet. I think we're getting close, but we're not quite there. So yes, he's our rest. We rest from our works, as in we don't go to the temple, but you still pray. That's an offering. That's a type of offering and sacrifice. You still go to church. That's a type of offering and sacrifice. You still offer worship. You still offer worship and sacrifices and praise, right? But you rest from the works of the law, which means you don't drag a goat into the temple or a lamb into the temple, right? Because Yeshua is our Passover lamb, right? So keep the Sabbath day holy, which means set apart, means that it's different from other days. And he is Lord of the Sabbath, means his day. It's his day. He wants to meet you on that day. It's a Moedim. Do you know what a Moedim is? It's a special day where Abba wants to meet with you, where your Heavenly Father wants to meet with you. Go look in Ezekiel at the temple. When does the prince come and intercede and meet with the people and intercede with them in Ezekiel's temple? On the Sabbath day. Why was Yeshua always healing on the Sabbath day? Because it's his day. He was meeting. What did Yeshua do on the Sabbath day? He was meeting with people and he was healing them. Often, almost every single healing that's in the New Testament happened on the Sabbath day. Why? It's a picture to teach you about his day. He wants to meet with you. He doesn't want you going to the mall and worrying about that stuff. He doesn't want you mowing your lawn and doing all that stuff on the Sabbath day. He wants you to rest with him because he wants to meet with you, because it's a Moedim. And don't tell me that that's not for today and it's not for the future, because we see it in the future in Ezekiel's temple. And we see in Zechariah 14, everybody going to Sukkot, which is a biblical feast. And the people who don't go to Sukkot, the nations, the people who refuse to go to Sukkot, they don't get rain. What's rain? Water from heaven, living water from heaven. They don't get rain on their land if they refuse to go to Sukkot. Do you know what people do at Sukkot? They read the Torah. They read the scriptures. Paul says in 1 Corinthians 11, he talks about how there's many people that are dying and not being healed because they're walking in rebellion. They're refusing to look and say, hey, wait a second, I need to fast and pray on this because maybe I'm missing something. And they're refusing to look, and they're refusing to and they're still arguing with people, and they're still debating, and they're doing all this stuff, and they're not checking themselves and not checking with what they're believing is true. And he says, because of this, many are not healed, and many are dying. We have so many are going into the church and they hold the same theology as you, and they are not healed, and they are not getting healed, and they're not getting progress, and they feel like they're still hungry, and they're still struggling, and they still have infertility, and they still have all this stuff happening. And I challenge you, could that possibly be because they're refusing to meet Yeshua on his day, He's Lord of the Sabbath. It's his day. He was meeting with people and healing them all the time on that day. So if you're busy mowing your lawn, instead of meeting with him on his day, maybe he's just not meeting with you yet. You know, not you in particular, but maybe some of you, maybe he's not meeting with you yet because he's waiting for you to rest, to actually rest in him and rest in him on his day so that he can meet with you. Moed, it's a moed, it's an appointed time to meet with you, because he knows you have to go to work and he knows you have to clean your toilet and he knows you have to do all that stuff. That's why he gave you a special time. He's like, here, come at this time. I'll be there. I'll meet with you. And I'm not saying he can't meet you anywhere, but maybe he wants you to make the effort to show up when he asked you to. Just a thought. Also, the Sabbath was from Genesis, so it's not Old Testament law or anything like that. It's from Genesis. It's a revelation. He's teaching us. He's teaching us something. When I first kept the Sabbath, the scriptures opened up for me in an entirely new way. I saw connections and things that I never saw before. And I did not see that until I walked in obedience and I said, wait a second. The fourth commandment, which is your ring finger, by the way, fourth commandment, ring finger. The fourth commandment is to keep the Sabbath. And I was like, well, why does the whole church, the entire church, not keep the Sabbath? It's not hard. It's not work to keep the Sabbath and rest with your family. I believe it'll actually save families. I believe keeping the Sabbath would have saved so many families, because they're all together studying the scriptures, keeping the Sabbath together, resting in him, learning how to actually rest in him instead of just pretending, cleaning the toilet, saying you're resting in him, but you're not. Learning how to sit there and sit with him for an entire day and spend that time with him. It's a beautiful thing. So when I was convicted, like, why does the church not do this? I went to my retail store, which was a huge financial investment. I went down there and I changed the hours on it said closed. It was my busiest day of the week. It said closed. I'm going to keep the Sabbath. That day, the scriptures opened up for me. It was like, you know that meme where that guy's got all the strings on the board? That's what it was like. I could see all these. I was like, oh, none of this contradicts anymore. I don't have to make excuses for Paul says this, Paul says that, but it says this over here. No, it makes sense now. It makes sense. Yeah, we're not under the law, meaning we don't have to abide by all these stringent rules, but we learn how to walk with him. We observe how to walk with him. He teaches us from the law. He teaches us from the instructions. Torah means instructions. It means learning how his creation works. It's him teaching us how the creation works. Sabbath rest is a whole different kind of rest. So if you're tired, like if anybody out there is tired a lot, Sabbath rest is a whole different kind of rest. Love you guys.